What is good, everybody? It's your boy Dre. Let's go through another segment of NFT news, starting with Etherscan. So, if you're familiar with OpenSea or if you already bought many NFTs through the Ethereum blockchain, then you probably heard of Etherscan, most likely through gas fees, right? Now, it's kind of interesting to understand what Etherscan is, what it can do. If you're a developer creating these, um, I guess, these databases, Etherscan can be a great way to do so, right? But that's not the point. The point is, what is Etherscan? And we've heard it many times, especially if you've bought, again, NFTs through the Ethereum blockchain. So you can kind of think of Ethereum as, the Google as, think of it as Google before the blockchain, right? So in a nutshell, Etherscan is to Ether. Oh my God, Etherscan is to Ethereum as Google is to the internet. Etherscan is a search engine for the Ethereum blockchain, allowing users to find and validate transactions. You may also use Etherscan to see all the information about any pending or completed transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. Again, that's the beauty about the blockchain, not just Ethereum, that everything is shown in public to the world. You don't have to create an account to use Etherscan, but it is advisable to sign up for an account, especially if you wish to access developer tools. However, it is important to note that Ethereum isn't a wallet, or sorry, Etherscan isn't a wallet. Instead, it is a source of data and information relating to the Ethereum blockchain. So, what does this mean exactly? I'm not telling you to make an account, but I'm just saying that if you want to access the developer tools, then you have to do so. I don't know if you looked at Dune Analytics, but people have made some cool things, and I'm pretty sure that they used Etherscan for the data set. So, for example, we go on Dune.xyz. You can kind of choose the different hashtags or different tags. You have Ethereum, NFTs, DEXs, OpenSea, so on and so forth. I want to look into NFTs, and there's this one guy who or woman who programmed or made a database of the interactive NFT floor prices. So if we go down this list, we see the different floor prices of different projects. So for example, we see Void Attractors floor tracker. We see it went up in price, and then this went down for whatever reason. We're seeing Meebits. This is kind of interesting because the floor price is 2.31 in August 2021, and then in March 2022, it's at 4.89. Just keep in mind that the prices of Ethereum may have changed, so it's kind of subject to really what the USD price is. However, this spike is very interesting, where the floor price, according to this, was at 33.89 Ethereum. Um, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case, but the point is, you can use these data sets to or get information from Etherscan to make these sort of data sets. And this is most likely when they had that announcement that Yuga Labs was going to acquire Bored Ape Yacht Club and Meebits, right? So we see here a huge spike, and that's definitely through the announcement. That's just crazy. Then it went down to like 6.38 Ethereum, which is pretty accurate, and then around 5. We also see Cool Cats floor price tracker, Pudgy Penguins, and a whole bunch of different projects. So that's really cool, right? So going back to the article, is Etherscan compatible with NFTs? So users have to rely on external services such as marketplaces like OpenSea to view the entire artwork. Although Etherscan cannot display art, it will display the token ID, the project to which it belongs, the transaction record, and the smart contract code. So yes, I believe that on Dune.xyz, people have been using these token IDs, these projects, and they actually use the information from OpenSea um, to somewhat facilitate these data sets, if that makes sense, right? Because when you sell something on OpenSea, I think OpenSea kind of spits out information via Etherscan, and then from there you get information to create all sorts of data sets and whatnot, or just to kind of peer into what's really going on. So that's really cool. I think just knowing Etherscan or understanding the blockchain, you don't have to be an expert, but it's kind of cool to understand like what is really going on in the back end. Because whenever you buy, sell, or make a transaction on OpenSea or on the Ethereum blockchain, all that is literally recorded, living forever in the blockchain. Okay, let's talk about NFT fashion, augmented reality fashion. What's going to go on here? Well, before I even start reading this article a little bit, the likes of Sandbox, Decentrland, or any metaverse, there's a real strong push for putting yourself out there in the metaverse, and you're going to be able to have a fully customizable avatar. I mean, either that can be a direct representation of you or some sort of mythological figure, whatever that is. But at the end of the day, you're going to want like a video game to put some clothes on, some shoes, and all that's going to be an NFT, right? That is something to look forward to, something that can definitely potentially happen in the near future. Again, most of it has to do with the metaverse, but there's some strong implications of augmented reality as well. And to kind of give a side note, there's a lot of social media platforms, most specifically Snapchat, who are using this augmented reality feature for furniture, clothing, to kind of expand on their social e-commerce sort of segments to increase that revenue and to be in the e-commerce game because that's where the money's at nowadays, right? So there's definitely challenges in traditional fashion, from supply chain management to fabrication. And then, of course, there's tons of waste in the whole fashion industry. There really is. And so many clothes are being wasted. And, there's a huge pile of trash or just clothes. So, this is the really interesting here part, in my opinion. How do you monetize? Like, how does this make sense? Like, okay, am I going to wear an augmented reality shirt? Am I going to post a picture of myself and I'm going to have an augmented reality shirt from Gucci? Like, how do you really monetize this? Like, what's the deal here? So, the most direct and powerful way to monetize AR fashion is through blockchain technology, specifically through non fungible tokens, aka NFTs. So, NFTs and AR fashion. So, AR fashion brings new revenue streams for both the designers for all sizes and stripes. Sorry. For instance, the fabricant allows users to co-create AR fashion pieces with a curated group of invite-only creators, designers, and brands. Similarly, the Hunt curates AR-enabled fashion NFTs from hand-selected independent creators that can be worn and viewed in AR in real time. Designers are the only ones who can benefit from AR-enabled NFTs. Blockchain can also be used to create incentives and rewards for fashion consumers. For instance, the concept of where to earn, kind of similar to play to earn, could lead brands to reward people for wearing their clothes. Imagine receiving airdrops of tokenized AR fashion pieces to your virtual wallets or being paid in cryptocurrency when you post a picture of yourself wearing the brand's clothing on Instagram. It may not happen in the no, it may happen in the not so distant future. So let's kind of break it down real quickly. So augmented reality, different from virtual reality, where you have to have like a contact lens or a virtual headset to see the world. Whereas augmented reality, you're already using your phone to see different things. Think about Pokemon Go, right? So Pokemon Go is AR, virtual reality is Oculus. So one way is, say you're a fashion designer or you're an influencer on Instagram, and you take a selfie, right? Maybe you're wearing a plain white tee and some boxers or underwear or whatever it is, short pants. You take a selfie, and through the augmented reality features, you can kind of pick the clothes that you want to wear. So, say you're sponsored by Gucci for whatever reason, or Supreme, or Gap. You take a selfie, and in your plain white clothes, you enable the feature of the augmented reality clothing, um, and then you post it on Instagram. That way, you don't have, your sponsor sending clothes out, and through that whole supply chain side, you're not wasting the clothes if that person's going to wear it or not. You're not going to waste CO2 or emissions from sending that product. It's all about marketing at the end of the day, I think, right? Especially if you're an influencer. And this is one way to really monetize it and really market your products. So you don't have to send your products to thousands or hundreds of dozens of influencers. You can send them an augmented reality feature that'll be unlocked by the influencer. They can take a selfie with it and post it online. That's one thing that can be done, and that person will be paid in cryptocurrency. How cool is that? Now, digital fashion isn't a novelty anymore, it's an emerging industry. As people's digital identities become increasingly intersected with their real world lives, the ways that people express themselves in digital spaces is more important than ever. That's so true, right? First case, of course, is social media. There's huge potential for growth, and with the advent of NFTs and fungible currencies in the digital fashion world, designers and brands have a vast new tool set to realize their visions and earn revenue while they do so. So even though this is still very new, still emerging, I think at some point this will be inevitable. And of course, augmented reality will come first before full on set virtual reality. But I guess there are two different segments. Number one, if you have an avatar in a metaverse, you want to customize your avatar with some clothes, chains, sneakers, headsets, hats, beanies, etc. For augmented reality, you still want to be yourself. And if you want to, monetize your brand, your personal brand, you can do so by using that feature where you can wear virtual clothes or sponsor a virtual couch, bed, etc. And I think it sounds crazy right now, but I think as this starts to unravel, it's going to make a lot more sense. Point is, augmented reality and fashion is emerging together, and the possibilities are endless. Okay, can you really get married on the blockchain? Is it possible? Well, guess what? Decentraland has done that with Unilever, which is kind of crazy. But listen out, listen here for a second. It's not a legal marriage, right? So let's kind of break it down. The oral care brand Unilever Close Up has partnered up with Decentraland to introduce the world to the first ever NFT marriage certificate. As this name suggests, the innovative concept will discriminately allow couples to get married on the metaverse platform where a unique NFT will be rendered as a digital representation of their love for each other. Close Up will open the doors to a City Hall of Love in Decentraland this upcoming April, where couples can begin their experience with a proposal before moving to the ceremony, which will be conducted by a wedding officiant. Once the vows have been said and the famous two words are spoken, the couple's love will be immortalized on the blockchain through the minting of an NFT certificate of marriage. How crazy is that? Now, okay, listen to this. Although the NFT certificates will not be legally binding nor hold any legal weight in any country's jurisdiction, it's still in a monumental experience. And you know what? This can be a leeway for this to actually be a legit thing. Gary Vee has spoken about this, how literally everything is going to be NFTs. You're not going to have some sort of physical paper document that tells you that you got married, that tells you that you went to school and you graduated. Anything will be digitized, living in a blockchain for everyone to see, so you cannot forge it, rip it off, make fakes, etc. Right? And yes, I know there's so many hacks going on, but we're so early in the technology, and at some point it's going to be mature and regulated, right? So that's really cool. Even though, again, it's not legally binding, I do see us in the foreseeable future. This will be a thing, legally, by the way. Now, Jim Carrey, okay, before I even go around this article, one of my favorite actors of all time. However, he has been scrutinized and there's so much controversy behind him, and he doesn't make as many movies, right? And, through his time not making movies, he's really developed a passion for art. And, people who are into art have a big possibility of, monetizing or creating a community through digital art with NFTs. So Jim Carrey is planning to swap his career in NFTs instead of just full on acting, right? This is what he announced in a somewhat like an interview, and he's not really making as many movies. As a matter of fact, he kind of semi-retired unless a really good movie or a really good script is made and he'll be in it, right? But for the most part, he's going to focus on himself and doing art, which is really cool. So, titled Magic Hour, Jim Carrey's NFT collection will initially launch through a dedicated website. Little is known of the artworks, however, other than representing a mix of Jim's artwork and spoken word musings, potentially featuring some of his trademark rants against the cult of celebrity. He's spoken out against Hollywood, and as a matter of fact, that's probably why he has been outcasted by them. But listen, I highly encourage you looking at his work, his artwork, and it's definitely a way for him to express himself. And I think people that definitely like this in the art community. People who have different viewpoints, different perspectives, and kind of have expressionless art. Not that I'm an art expert. They take value in that, right? So this can be a big thing for him. Um, I just think that's cool that celebrities going into this with some sort of cool intention of being a really fanatic and passionate artist altogether. But all in all, it's cool to see a celebrity going into the NFT space, especially with someone in Jim Carrey's stature. So, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. We'll come out with more NFT news, and until next time.